My mom had a medical emergency and she collapsed overseas. And when I later sat down with the doctors and I asked what were the warning signs, the answers stopped me cold. So she had them for a while. She just didn't know they were warning signs. And honestly, neither did I. So today, I want to talk about something that I think every woman and every daughter needs to hear. My mom is not someone you would describe as unhealthy. She's active and she eats well and she doesn't smoke. So on the surface, she looks like a fine person. But when she got into a medical situation overseas and I started to ask the doctors more questions, I found out something that I hadn't expected. So some of the sensations she had been experiencing, like chest tightness, occasional bloating that didn't seem food related, and there's a dull ache in her shoulder. Those weren't random and they were not just aging. For women, those are cardiac symptoms. We just don't recognize them because they don't look like what we would have been taught a heart attack looks like. So we have seen the TV version, which is a man clutching his chest, dramatic and sudden. That's not always how it shows up in women. Sometimes it's quieter, and that's exactly what makes it more dangerous. So let me break down what doctors told me and what I've since learned about how cardiac symptoms present differently in women. First, chest tightness that comes and goes. So this is not a sharp crushing pain. It's more like having pressure and heaviness in the chest area. Sometimes some women describe it as a very tight bra feeling or like something is sitting on their chest. So this passes and women ignore it. Second, bloating or nausea that feels digestive related, except that it isn't. This one is wildly underdiagnosed. Women who are experiencing a cardiac event often feel nausea, indigestion, or upper abdominal discomfort. It gets dismissed as gastric issues, or it gets dismissed as stress, or it gets dismissed as woman being too paranoid. It is really not. Third, pain or aching in the left shoulder, neck, or jaw. It's not always and not everyone, but this is a referred pain pattern. Your heart shares nerve pathways with these areas. So when the heart is under stress, the pain doesn't always show up at the heart. If you have an ache in your left shoulder that you can't explain, especially with any breathlessness or fatigue, please don't brush it over. Fourth, unusual fatigue and tiredness. It's not like I had a long day kind of tired. More like, how come I'm this exhausted from just walking to the kitchen? Women often report extreme, unexplained fatigue in the weeks before a cardiac event. Save this video and send it to your mom, your sister, or your friend who keeps saying she's probably fine. Because the problem isn't that these symptoms are invisible. The problem is that we have been taught to minimize and normalize these conditions. So what can you actually do? There are tests that can give you a picture of your heart health before something happens. You don't have to wait for a crisis. A coronary calcium score scan. This is non-invasive and relatively affordable. It tells you if there's any calcified plaque building up in your arteries and is one of the best early screening tools available. A HSCRP blood test checks for arterial inflammation. which is another early warning marker. And a stress echocardiogram looks at how your heart performs under pressure. You don't need to be symptomatic to ask your doctor about this. In fact, the whole point is to find out before you become symptomatic. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Women's bodies give sickness. The issue is that we have been conditioned by culture or by busyness by not wanting to make a fuss to ignore them. Chest tightness or unexplained bloating or shoulder or neck ache, extreme fatigue, these are not minor inconveniences. These are your body asking to be heard. My mom's story has an okay ending and she is recovering, but it didn't have to be as close as it was. So don't wait for a crisis to start paying attention to your heart. If this opened your eyes even a little bit, save this video and share it with someone who needs to hear it. It might be the most important thing you do today. Follow me and I'll see you in the next one. And if you've been looking at your own financial protection, what happens to your income, your family, your plans if your health takes an unexpected turn, that's exactly what I help people think through. Link is in the description if you want to start that conversation.